again, coming to you live from my kitchen for another episode of Cooking Classics. Today we are going to take on a fan favorite breakfast food that I'm sure many of you know, have had. We are going to be taking on pancakes, one of my favorites. It is perfect as I am filming this. It is a rainy Saturday morning. So who doesn't love pancakes on a rainy Saturday morning? Stick with me and I will show you guys 3 different ways to make them. We are going to make traditional pancakes, chocolate chip pancakes, and banana walnut pancakes. I hope you guys enjoy these recipes, and like always, if you have any questions, feel free to comment below and I will answer them. Let's get started. All right, before we get started cooking, I'm gonna go through the ingredients with you guys. If you guys are cooking at home, feel free to go to your pantries and grab your stuff. If you are just watching this for entertainment value, that's totally fine with me. I'm probably gonna make a mess at some point. And if you guys are saving this for later, I'm going to put a link to the recipe in the comments below so you guys can save that and check it out when you're making it. All right, so the first thing we need when we're making pancakes is a giant mixing bowl to mix everything into, like this. The other thing we're gonna need is the base of our pancakes, which is flour. You're going to need some milk. We're also going to need 1 egg. We are going to need some salt. We are going to need some butter or margarine, whatever you got. We are going to need some cocoa powder. We are going to need some white sugar, some cane sugar, some granulated sugar, whatever you use, whatever you got. Coconut sugar, brown sugar. Oh, don't use brown sugar. And we are also going to need a bit of baking powder. My secret ingredient when I make pancakes, not every recipe calls for it, but for some reason I love putting it in this, is vanilla extract. So I'm also going to ask that you guys grab that if you want to try my special ingredient. If you guys want to make them the way that you know, that's totally fine, but it gives it just a hint of sweetness that I really love. Lastly, we need our ingredients to make our specialty pancakes. So you guys are going to grab some chocolate chips if you would like to make the chocolate chip pancakes. You're going to grab some cocoa powder. I think I said that before, but I'm not sure. So just in case I didn't say it, cocoa powder. You're going to want half a banana. And you're also going to want some walnuts for the banana walnut pancakes. Once you've assembled all your ingredients, it's important to get the supplies that you need and the tools that you need to make these pancakes. So you guys are going to get, like I said at the beginning, a large bowl. We're going to need a whisk to stir our stuff together. You are going to need some measuring spoons. You are going to need a spoon to take your mixture out with. You are going to need a spatula to flip your pancakes. You are going to need some measuring cups as well. Lastly, to cook your pancakes, you guys are going to either need to use a stovetop or an electric griddle. For today's recipe, I'm going to be using an electric griddle. However, if you guys do not have an electric griddle at home, a stovetop and a pan works just as good. Once you guys have all your supplies ready, we're going to get set, and I'm going to show you guys how to make some pancakes. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to put our giant mixing bowl right in front of us, like so. We are going to take our sifter and we're going to put it in the bowl like this. This is how we're going to sift our dry ingredients and get it going, get it moving. So the first thing we're going to put into that sifter is our flour. We're going to take 1 1/4 cups of the flour and put it in top of the sifter. So here's my 1 cup. And here's my 1/4 cup. All right, and you might notice when you put that flour in your sifter, if you're using a sifter, if you're not using a sifter, just put this flour right in your bowl. That some of it falls through the bottom. That's okay. What the sifter does is it sifts through your dry ingredients to make sure that there's no clumps, no chunks, no nothing that could give you like that powdery taste when you bite into the pancake. So just make sure that everything is nice, smooth, and easy for you when you mix. All right, the next thing we need is our baking powder. We're going to take that. 2. So if you're like me, I didn't have a half teaspoon, so I used 1 teaspoon and then a 1/4 teaspoon to make our baking powder. The next thing you're gonna put in is a teaspoon of salt. So take your teaspoon, take your salt, throw it in that sifter. And what you guys are gonna do now is sift that together. So what that means is you're just gonna turn the crank so it goes on in there. If you don't have a sifter and you still wanna make sure that there's no chunks or anything in your mixture, what you guys can do is you guys can take a fork, any plain fork like this, and kind of mash it in there like that. And that'll also help you break up whatever chunks and lumps you got in your flour, which sometimes happens. Once that's sifted, we're gonna add some white sugar in there. You guys are going to take 1 tablespoon of white sugar, tablespoon, and throw it on in there. Next, you guys are going to need 1 1/4 cup of milk. Dump that on in there. And you're going to take your egg and you're gonna crack it into your mixture. Once you've got all your dry and wet ingredients combined, you're going to take your whisk and you're gonna stir it all together, make it nice and smooth. All right, once your mixture is all nice and pancake-like consistency, what we're gonna do is throw in my secret ingredient, which is vanilla extract. You guys are gonna take your teaspoon and just put a teaspoon of that in your mixture. Like I said, if you don't wanna add this in, you don't have to. For some reason, I throw vanilla extract in everything. I feel like it really makes the taste a little bit sweeter. So I put it in everything from pancakes to French toast, to cookies, to cakes, to pretty much you name it. As long as it's sweet, I probably put vanilla extract in it. All right, once your pancake mix looks a little wet, we are going to divide it into 3 bowls so we can make our 3 different pancake flavors. So we're gonna set those out. All right, once that's done, we're gonna put one of the bowls aside. That is our classic traditional pancake. There's no need to touch it. It's got everything it needs in there, so we're gonna set that aside. Next up, we are going to make our double chocolate chip pancakes. So you guys are going to take one of the bowls, take your cocoa powder, and take your chocolate chips. And we are going to mix that together really fast. All right, once that is all mixed up and good, you're gonna set that to the side with your traditional pancake mix. All right, and lastly, we are going to make our banana walnut pancakes. So for this, you guys are going to get your walnuts and your banana. And the first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna cut my banana into the bowl. And then you guys are going to take about a handful of walnuts. Again, if you want more, take more. If you want less, take less. I'm gonna do about this much. You guys are gonna crush them in your hands. And you're gonna drop them in that bowl too. You're gonna take your whisk and you're gonna stir this around to make sure that they evenly get in that batter. Once all your mixtures are done, it is time to get them on the stove. Let's go. All right, so if you guys are at home making this on an electric griddle, the first thing you're gonna do is take your griddle out and plug it in and let it warm up. Be very careful though, this thing does get hot really fast. Make sure that you talk to your adult. They give you some warnings, some tips, some hints on how it works. If they want to do it, that's awesome. Let's make this a family cooking morning. I'm gonna set it to about 250 degrees to start out. If I need to make it hotter, I will. And we're just gonna give it a few minutes to heat up. All right, once your pan starts to get a little hot, we are going to take our butter and use it to grease the top of the griddle. That's so our pancakes will flip nicely and evenly. We don't have to worry about them getting stuck. Once that butter has melted a little bit, it is time to pour our pancake batter on here. So now if you want these to be perfect pancake circles, I recommend using a spoon, either like a ladle or a big old tablespoon to dump them on. I'm gonna go with the pour method, which means I'm just gonna take my bowl and pour it on until it's the size that I want it to be. So the first one's going down are our classic pancakes. Then I'm gonna do the banana walnuts. Then I'm going to do our chocolate chips. So now we're just gonna let those pancakes sit. They're gonna get hot on one side. I will show you guys the trick from when it's time to flip it over. I'm hoping that you can see it in this camera. I will try to move it closer in case you can't. But I'm hoping you guys can see that these pancakes, as they're cooking, they start to develop bubbles on the top. Once the whole top is primarily bubbles, that's when you know it's time to flip. So we're gonna let these sit, see what's going on. All right, so these guys are starting to get a little bubbles. I'm gonna take my spatula to test them out. If it looks like I can move them in one cohesive unit, that usually means it's time to flip. So you're gonna get your spatula underneath it and just go over. Once all of our pancakes are flipped, we're gonna let them sit on this side for a few more minutes and get them plated. All right, now for the most important part. Once your pancakes are off the griddle or you're done using the stovetop, make sure that you turn it off. We do not want any hot appliances on when we're not using them. So if you have a griddle, you can turn the dial to off. And then for extra caution, I like to make sure that it's unplugged just to be sure. And if you're using the stovetop, turn your dial all the way off to make sure that nothing is still on when you're done. All right, now that the hard part's over, it's time to eat them. Let's see what they look like. So here we have our 3 different versions of pancakes. We have our classic pancakes. We have our banana walnut pancakes. And we have our chocolate chip pancakes. Now all of these can be enjoyed on their own if you just want to take a knife and a fork and start cutting into them. You can also add some syrup if you like syrup. You can add butter, you can add cinnamon, you can add powdered sugar, you can add whipped cream. Whatever it is that you want to jazz up your pancakes will taste amazing on all of these. So I hope you guys enjoyed today's recipes. I hope you try them out for yourselves. And if you do, please feel free to send me any pictures or let me know in the comments of this video what you tried and what your favorite flavors are. I hope you had fun, and I'll see you next time for Kitchen Classics. Bye!